So one thing that I loved about being here under the tutelage of the incomparable Dennis Smith is that we had a generative workshop, so we created work every day. I'm going to read this poem that I created in our workshop. I'm not going to give you too much context for it, except these three quotes. I am not a man, I am a cloud in trousers. Say it with your whole black mouth. Life and death appeared to me ideal bounds. Ideal bounds. Folks Frankenstein my speech, graft calm sentences onto aggravated torso, move into my mouth and immediately reupholster my tongue, draw a chart of my imagined semantic anatomy, tell me what I must mean when I say, and maybe this is why everyone hates millennials. A generation stitching together scavenged syntax by candlelight, using their teeth to punctuate dirty suture threads, robbing graves to call themselves creators, stopping only to listen for the sound of the angels, I mean the mob, over the snuff film screams, and so they are surprised when the still living grammar shakes off rigor, reaches for the soft throat, an honest question, a bone saw, the deadliest antithesis, and maybe the monster's sin is wanting to be translated exactly or not at all, or that the cacophony of pitchfork lexicon gives him a fucking headache, and so he writes himself into a book where the words make the worlds and not the other way around. When did you first commend your spirit into the hands of misunderstanding? Which psalm taught you to read this passionate assuredness as argument? And maybe this is proof that resurrection is hollow bullshit, so God dwells in the gathering of two or more half-alive limbs held in the genderless straitjacket of silence, and so heaven is an operating theater, runway, padded room, pulpit, cockpit, publishing house, a voice that speaks for me but is not mine. I had the incredible fortune to have a book come out this year, and that's wicked special. Definitely shout out to Kabe Khanum and Highlight Books for putting out my book baby, Monster House. I am going to give you all the titular poem in this book. Now, there was a man in Atlanta where I live that thought it would be funny to spoof my partner's body of work. My partner is also a poet, and create this sort of parody of their entire poetic body of work, which was really disrespectful. And so, because I can't rap, I have to write diss poems. So y'all don't get this diss poem today. When a boy steals the deed to your partner's body, spend the evening making vessels of your palms and bathing their foundation in rosewater. Pull the Ouija board and crystals down from the attic and prepare yourself for the resurrection. Press your forehead to the plaster and whisper the name of your partner's ghost to the silence. Say, I love you. Say, I miss you. Say, come home. Say, boys only worship what they want to possess, and I will not let this pantheon be taken. Make a prayer of his blasphemy. Find the power in the naming. Call your partner back to their birthright. Pour them a libation of your blood. And when the boy returns to change the locks, tell him that he does not live here, that this house will not host his entitled infestation. Show him the cracks in your scorched wrist bones as proof that this is land his touch cannot gentrify. That he cannot draw a map if he does not know the country. Say, tell me, boy, what devil gave you permission to lay claim to this drywall skin sanctuary? As though this body is your safe place to rest. Say, tell me, boy, what can you know of its construction if you see nothing of its scaffolding? Play Lazarus and speak nothing of its blueprint veins or steel girder skeleton. Say, tell me, godless boy, do you dream in banishment spells and empty spaces? Does the smell of sage remind you of the ways in which you were born? Of smoldering and smoke and repelling and ash when your partner's breath rustles through doorways as the wind in their chest stands up? Say, didn't you know that this house belongs to the specters? That they mixed the mortar and molded the brick and hewed the wood, that they have been here before this? and they will be here after this, say, didn't you know, feckless boy, that this body is handcrafted resiliency? That the only thing that haunts its rooms is a will to survive? That this house is a monster ready to make a meal out of any mortal bold enough to desecrate its hallowed ground? Say, tell me, boy, did you think you could give birth to this body with scavenged scraps of its mother tongue? How dare you set fire to these floorboards and call it warmth? Call it a seance? Call it anything but appetite? How dare you presume to know the rights of this temple? How dare you ransack this gospel before reading it? When your partner's spirit lights the candles, exorcise the boy. Cast him out, ward him off, and lock the door behind him. Let your partner's pavement teeth crush his bones to powder. Ink the new deed against their lips, then help them salt the earth with the remains of the boy. Smile. Say, here we are. Say, welcome home. Say, I'm so glad we stayed. Make it known that none like him will ever have the audacity to grow here again. I am the last reader, and I'm just going to go ahead and take up space if y'all don't mind. Just for a second. 2019 is the year I promised myself I was going to write about joy. And I challenge all of you to find joy in whatever you're writing, because it's there. So please look for it. It's often not very far away. I want to leave you with this last poem. I wrote this poem in 2017. It was the last poem I wrote that year. And I wrote it for 3 of the people who kept me here during that year. I say their names on every stage. I take them with me everywhere I go. So Madeline Lessing, Joya Ahmad, Cassandra Myers, wherever you are here with me, and I want them to go home with you now. I am the type that has a heart like a mini fridge. Small, commercial function in compact space, both cool and ice cold. Sometimes home to other people's leftovers. Sometimes home only to my own. My heart freezer burns the things that stay too long no matter how badly I want to hold on to them. Keeps things fresh way past their printed expiration date. Won't let me throw out anything that still feels salvageable. Like that prime rib I made her for New Year's. Like that half an omelet in the shape of her smile. Like that Yoplait cup she promised she'd come back for but never did. My heart has filaments that crave the next power surge. Is sometimes tougher than it looks, but always tougher than it feels. Has a door that hangs crooked and lets vodka in with the pizza rolls. My heart tucks the things it can't let go into its corners and waits for the lights to go out. Doesn't discriminate between handmade and store-bought. Has magnets from all the places I've been, but dents from all the people I've loved there. Usually takes a day or more to defrost completely. My heart is a hand-me-down humming toward obsolescence. A sign of my unwillingness to grow up. Completely unaware of its finite space, always willing to protect new Tupperware. But best of all, y'all, my heart is full. 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 Thank you, Lambda, y'all.